Hey guys, welcome back to Vivid Talks. Today I'm bringing a very special guest, Stella Chuu, who is a professional full-time cosplayer. She travels around the world to a lot of different conventions and also makes a lot of content for social media, such as for Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Twitter, and more. I'm going to share with you her journey, how she was able to quit her full-time job to do her content creation full-time now. Welcome so much, Stella, to Vivid Talks today. I'm so excited to have you on because I love your cosplays and all the creatives that you do. And I'm so honored because you're like my senpai.
No, we've been friends for so long. At this point, it's not even senpai. It's like legit colleagues and peers.
That's true. Do you want to introduce yourself to those people who are not familiar with what you do?
Hello, I am Stella Chuu. I've been a cosplayer for a very long time, but I also do like streaming, I draw, YouTube, I do a whole bunch of stuff. At this point, like I'm kind of just a huge variety person on the internet. I hosted a show called Stella Transforms where I like transform streamers into the cosplayer of their choice, and that was super dope. So that's probably like the coolest thing I've ever done.
I remember seeing those on your YouTube channel. Those were amazing.
Oh my god, I love them. Like, it made me realize I prefer to put costumes on other people than myself.
Oh.
You know?
And why is that?
I would say that I've spent so long being like, hey, look at me, that it was cool before, but over time you kind of realize that, like, it doesn't mean as much. When I get to see somebody else, like, wear something that made them feel like a superhero, made them feel bigger than life, and the smile on their face, and, like, how much disbelief they're in because, you know, this is the first time that they've looked so cool. I'm like, yes, please, more of this. This is such a good, nice feeling. I just want to, like, give people cool things.
Yeah, that's true. Being able to transform someone from their like normie self to something like a fantasy character is always really amazing. So what actually got you into cosplaying?
So I used to be president of the anime club in high school and college. So I have always been a huge weeb, and like anime club is a great way to get into cosplay because cosplay is a group activity. And I remember people in both of my clubs doing cosplay. This is back in like pre-2010, you know, like when everyone was like duct taping things together. Like no one even went to like Goodwill to buy stuff. They just found whatever they had in their garbage and then just made costumes from it. Cause we like didn't know anything. Like one person knew how to sew and tried to teach the rest of us how to sew. And like when I graduated from college, I really wanted to go and do some cool things, artistic things on my own. And cosplay was one of them. You know, I was like young and with like disposable income, like living on my own for the first time in my life. And I'm like, yo, let's go to a ton of conventions. What? I can go fly to another state and attend a con? Yeah, that sounds amazing. So snowballed from there and I ended up cosplaying a whole lot. That was also the age of social media growing. Like this is early 2010 when like the only famous person on YouTube was Michelle Fan, right? Like there was no such thing as a content creator. And so that year was when everything exploded and so many people started to have social media profiles. And so I was like, okay, for cosplay, I'll make a social media profile on Facebook. And that was when Instagram came out as well. And eventually I did Twitter and it just grew within the cosplay community. Everyone kind of was doing the same thing and growing together.
Yeah. So how did you actually make the decision to kind of pivot to do this full time then?
I really treated it like a business from the get-go because I wanted it to feel like legitimate, you know, like I always go hard on everything. And so when I wanted to cosplay, I was like, okay, I have to have a cosplay name. Okay, I have to have a business card. I have to have professional photos done. I have to travel to these conventions. I was so serious about it that eventually, when I was making money, it didn't feel like it was like a decision. It just kind of felt like part of the whole thing. But it wasn't until like 2015 or 2016 when I like made the big hard decision to quit my day job and become a cosplayer full time. I was actually working at a job where we had unlimited vacation days.
Wow.
And I was like kind of taking more vacation days than I should have. Like literally, I was taking like a Friday off every week.
For the like, convention weekend, right?
Yeah. I was to be like, oh, by the way, I'm not going to be here next Friday and the Friday after that and the Friday after that. So see ya. And they'll be like, wait, what? And so before I got fired, like, cause I was like, what if I do get fired? Like, what if they realize that this is not a good idea to have somebody who's just not going to be here half the time. So before that even happened, I decided to just quit my job so that I could just leave on like a good note with my bosses and just be chill.
Aw, that's cool. I'm glad you made the transition over and now you make your own schedule. And actually, I'm curious, how is your daily schedule like as a cosplayer and a content creator?
I mean, before COVID and quarantine and all of that stuff, it was like over a year ago. So does it even count as my life anymore? But I would spend like 16 hours a day doing cosplay related stuff. I would stream building costumes. I would be making costumes oh my god, I remember in like 2018 or something, I made a costume every week. At least I tried to.
Wow.
I think I got like, there's like 52 weeks. I think I got 40 something costumes, if not like just south of it. That was like an exhausting year because not only was I making the costumes, I was also traveling to conventions. Right. So it was insane. And I would also be doing social media posting and like trying to do YouTube, and crazy how hard I worked. And I had so much stamina to do that.
That's crazy to hear that. That's insane.
But you know it. Like, you're like the only person I know who can do the same thing I do. Like, you go hard. Yeah, like we are the same blood, basically. I've seen you pump out costumes faster than anyone and get to photo shoots and then go to like 20 more conventions than I do. Like, you do it, girl. You got it.
Back in the old days when I still have energy, and now it's like COVID, we're all like stuck at home.
For people like us, we live off of the craze and the schedule, but as soon as it's taken away from us, we like become like deflated. I
know. I like the energy in the crowd, being able to see people and the physical like contact.
Yeah, I don't thrive being an introvert. This is like hibernation for me. Like, I don't do anything well without other human beings to like pull energy from.
It's true. You feel like the cosplay scene has changed since you started till now?
Yeah, it's so different now. I would say it's a lot less heady now. No, it's fine. All of the cosplayers from the old days remember just how toxic it was. When we talk about it, it doesn't seem toxic because it was such a small community, and it'd be like maybe like 2 people saying that they didn't like you. But now when you're posting stuff on the internet, it's like, you know, you get 300 comments with mean people. But like back in the day, it was like nothing. It was like 2 people because it was like our first hateful comments. It like stung the most or something. I mean, like, yeah, back in the day it was all about how did you make your costume? Did you make it or did someone else make it? Is it from scratch? It better be from scratch. Like, it can't have been bought, and you have to have made your own shoes from scratch, like all that kind of stuff. You have to make your own eyelashes. Like, it's so
it's crazy.
Petty. New people coming into cosplay and then suddenly being bombarded with like tryhards who are like, well, actually, you should have used this kind of paint, and that's why you're a terrible cosplayer. I'm just like, yo, but now, oh, it's so nice. You can buy costumes, you can commission costumes, you can just order a costume from the official website rather than some bootlegger. Like, it's so much nicer now. You don't have to wear the full costume. You can just like take a TikTok where it's just from like your waist up and everyone gets it, right? Like, you don't have to have the freaking shoes with like all of the intimate detail, whatever. So what hasn't changed about the cosplay community is the community itself. I feel like has always been super warm and loving, and they love to party, and everyone loves memes, and people love their stuff so much. Like, everyone's all about like the passion. What's your favorite fandom and how hard do you love it? Let's go meet up and talk about it for like 20 hours. And that's what I really loved about the whole community.
Yeah, I really miss those like after con, like the lobby con parties, all the cosplayers come hang out and just kind of, you know, connecting with people outside of cosplay too, is just getting to meet people that are in the same interests as you, because a lot of us don't really have friends around us that like that kind of stuff, right?
West Coasters know how to party. Because like when I started doing cosplay, it was so serious. It was like you have to stand in this corner of Katsucon and be just as gorgeous and regal as possible and have like a line of photographers. I feel like moving from East Coast to West Coast, like West Coast people are so much more chill. Or maybe they're just like chill up front and then like behind closed doors are not chill, but I'm so oblivious to that. I just love everyone. Like, it just feels good.
What does your family actually think about you being full-time into the cosplay creatives world?
They actually really support it. Not in a way where like my mom will like carry my purse at a con, but in a way where my mom will ask me like, how's it going? Everything's good? Good job, honey. That's a nice feeling, because as an Asian American especially, like, you're born a disappointment. So,
Right.
so like having my family be really proud of me. I send them pictures of things I'm doing, even if it's not cosplay. Like I'll just send them stuff that I'm working on, like stickers I design or
Right.
like celebrities I get to take selfies with. Like
Nice.
they're really into that. Yeah.
I'm glad to hear that they're like really supportive of your work. So actually, what is the first time that there's like a fan that came up to you and they're like, "Are you Stella Chuu?"
I think it's because I live in New York City and the idea of like strangers approaching you never fazed me. So I don't remember when the first time someone was like, "Oh, you're Stella Chuu," blah, blah, blah and stuff. Because I try and just like not think about it and not care about it because I don't want it to like get to my head or anything. I don't want to focus on it.
Yeah.
It is really dope. It's really cool. And you see all these comments online and for some reason I feel like the comments online end up being truer than like meeting people in real life because I'm just like, oh, person probably only recognizes me because like they saw me like once. But like the people who repeat comment on all of my photos, those are the people who I like really care about their opinions,
Right.
you know,
That's true.
because they're the ones who are checking my social media like all the time and they actually like know all of my updates, what's going on in my life. So if like a random stranger comes up to me and is like, "You're Stella Chuu," I'm like, "Yeah, but what do you really know about me? Do you know I just got a hamster? What's her name? Tell me what her name is." You know, like those are the kinds of people I care about, you know, like the ones who give me the time that I give them.
That's amazing. What do you think is actually your most stressful cosplay you've ever made?
Oh my god, I have so many. Because I do a lot of really big costumes and I'm a perfectionist, but I am not. Like perfection and like the work I do not match up a lot of the time.
It's your creative take on it.
KDA was really hard. Farah from Overwatch was hard. The thing about me is that like if I don't do it fast, then I won't do it. And so that KDA costume should have taken a normal person like half a year to devise, but made it in like less than a month, right?
That's crazy.
And on top of that, I was doing conventions and like doing the show Stella Transforms. Yeah, if I can't do it fast, then I just won't do it. There's so many projects in my house that are unfinished because I didn't do it fast enough. And like my brain was just like, I don't care about this anymore. Goodbye.
Gonna lose the interest in it or the passion for it.
Oh, yeah.
We kind of have that thing. You get inspired as an artist at that moment. You gotta do it. And if it's like 2 weeks later, nah, I'm done. That was so
yeah,
like
I'm
2 weeks
good.
ago.
Yeah. Oh my god. The meme was like not even funny anymore. Who cares? You know?
Right. So then you're always under this stressful like condition, like trying to pump out these costumes. How do you actually deal with stress when you're working on costumes?
I would say right now stress dealing is completely different than what I used to do to deal with stress. When I was at the peak of like working on costumes and all that stuff, so unhealthy. The way I probably dealt with stress would be put it all into the project, and as soon as the project is done, then like the stress would be gone. But if the project didn't finish or didn't go the way I wanted to, I probably held on to that stress and then released it in a different way, like through tears in my eyes or something, or through like yelling. Oh my god, it's so unhealthy. But like,
no.
Don't do this unless you're like a 25-year-old kid. But if you're like older, like don't do this to your mental health. Like I was constantly working. And so I never gave myself time to deal with my stress. Like I never gave myself time to chill. And I would just constantly be working and I would like build up like a backload, you know, of like stress. And it would slowly fade away as I continued to build more stress. So it's like, imagine like an old lady carrying like a giant satchel on her back and stuff is falling out of it, but she keeps putting more stuff on it. That's kind of what my stress felt like. And so things would fall out the back and I'd be like, oh, I forgot that I was stressed out about that. But then I just keep adding on to it. So like that's, oh man, looking back on it, I bet you if you interviewed me like 2 years ago, I've been like, oh my God, I'm so good at dealing with stress. I'm fine. I'm so okay. I'm totally fine. But now, I don't know, quarantine stress is a completely different thing right now because it's the opposite of my personality. Quarantine has caused me to slow down and reevaluate the things that are important to me and to give me more space and time, which is really weird. And I'm sure that most people are still trying to figure out how to balance that and figure that out for themselves. And for me, instead of rushing to finish things, I give myself long deadlines. There's no deadline. It just goes on forever. And seeing how that goes and seeing how that affects my like mentality and my mental health, like this hamster cage behind me took me the entirety of quarantine to make.
Wow.
I won't say that it's better because I did that or that it, you know, better made that I did that, but it got done. And like, I'm happy that something about that process made better sense now. If I had taken a whole year to build this like before COVID, it would have been a huge disappointment. I would not have felt good about it, and I probably would never have finished it. Quarantine really has changed everything and changed the world and my expectations.
Got to learn more about yourself during this year because there's a lot more time for self-reflection, right?
Yep, I bet everyone is like that. Someone needs to publish a book that's like how to deal with you during quarantine.
Oh my god, yes, I agree.
I'm not the only person like this. I'm sure literally everyone is going through the exact same thing. And I don't have the answers, but I will say building this cage over the course of a year was very good for me. And learning how to bake. I'm baking every single week. I never used to bake. That feels good. I'm learning to draw again. I went to college for drawing.
Right.
And now I'm drawing again just to try and like find new things to do to take up my time that will like feed my soul and all that kind of stuff.
You have to find a new creative outlet if you can't go and travel to create content. You're just doing it at home now.
I guess also giving myself the license to not have to be good at everything. Before COVID, we all had to be good at everything we did. And now we don't have to. The world has kind of given us the license to just chill and not be good at everything.
What would you say would be a good piece of advice for a person who's like starting out with cosplay or trying to aspire to be a professional cosplayer?
I guess if I had to give objective advice, because there's like the subjective advice, which is like, oh my god, girl, do you? You're so amazing. You're beautiful. You love yourself. But the objective advice is to go start a TikTok and to start doing TikToks with cosplay. Whether that be building your cosplay or you're buying your cosplay, make TikToks because it is the fastest way to get instant satisfaction. Like people will look at it, they'll see it, they'll talk to you. People on TikTok are way more responsive than other platforms. Like Twitter, people just scroll. Instagram is a dying platform with like barely any reach, but with TikTok it's so easy to get seen by the people who like the same things that you like. If you wanted to go cosplay from Steven Universe, there's a whole huge community of so many people and you'll find so many people like-minded. Go start a TikTok account.
That sounds good. Well, thank you so much for your time today, Stella. I really appreciate you sharing your stories and all of your amazing adventures. So I hope you enjoyed the interview too. Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you. Cheers.